Alexandra's singing in the background, so I have background music. I was just thinking about the plan of salvation, or the plan of happiness, or the plan of perfection. However you describe it, is the idea that life is meaningful, joyful, peaceful, and free. In seeking for happiness, I think that's where so many people can get confused, because there's several important factors. Number one, because we're all connected, if we do something that makes ourselves happy but brings misery to other people, like stealing, robbing, raping, lusting, lying, whatever temporary joy that we may get out of that particular experience comes at a really high cost. Same as an addiction, basically. Because we are connected to other people, our happiness is connected to other people. Now, that doesn't mean that unhappy people make you unhappy. It means that your empathy can reach out to them, and you can embrace them in love. You can offer a light. You can offer charity. You can offer your time, your space, your attention. But you cannot change another person's choices or another person's thinking or feeling. That is always within their power and authority, not our own. And so we walk this very fragile space of being joyfully content in our little world that we create for ourselves when we perfect our mind as Christ, when we think the thoughts that lead to the feelings that create a reality, invite a reality, and attract a reality that naturally keeps the joy flowing, like a perpetual motion machine, like a waterfall. And that perpetual thing keeps you going in any and all situations. In the midst of challenge, the joy and the peace doesn't go anywhere. If it does, you notice it immediately, because it's such a foreign feeling, a foreign state of being. You're immediately like, there's a lesson there, and you go into it and you figure it out. You find the fear, you find where the reaction is rooted in. I like when Tony said yesterday when I watched his video about, worthy opponent. I don't think in terms of opponent, because in connection, whatever I succeed at, I have the ability to give to others the light of that example so they can succeed too. And whenever I see someone succeeding, I'm not competing with them. I'm looking at their light and going, okay, what can I learn? What can I see in their light that I don't see in myself yet? So removing competition means there's no opponents. All enemies, opponents are really just your best teachers of perfection, the ones that will refine you and bring out the very best that you can be. Be thankful when someone irritates you. Look at them and go, okay, thank you for the lesson. Now let's practice it and get it so that you're in a constant state of joy and peace, simply because those lessons no longer affect you. You're not learning the alphabet anymore. You're now writing essays. You're not learning your numbers. You're doing trigonometry. You're at a higher level because you've done all that practice. And so it doesn't matter when you're in traffic or you're in a situation where you don't have any control over what people are doing or saying or the outcomes or anything, and you can just simply feel that natural baseline peace. That joy is who you are all the time, because it is a perfect reflection of your thinking. And so in our happiness, we live in a world where many people are not. And that does not to take away from our joy. It simply allows the light of our joy to be an example. It means that when we are dealing with people who come from a place of trauma, brokenness, addiction, all of the things that lead to different states of misery and suffering, we don't come from a place of judgment. We don't come from a place that I'm going to fix you. We don't come from a place where I'm going to even rescue you. We don't come from a place of better than or worthy of, because we're all equally worthy. It's just that there's a certain amount of knowing there that has not yet taken place in the other person's heart. Or maybe they know it consciously, but it hasn't traveled that huge journey between here and the heart, because that 12 inches is the longest journey. Because we can know something up here and we can know it factually, but until we really feel it, it doesn't become a part of our reality. So in the connected peace, happiness, the plan of perfection, the plan of happiness, the plan of salvation is always going to be an individual plan. But being connected to every other individual means that we empathize, we connect, we share. We don't hold back until we think someone's fallen far enough down, because we don't want them to hit rock bottom if they don't have to. They may choose to. And we may have to shed tears sometimes. Tears for those that we love, who are suffering, and there's nothing we can say or do to change it except pass those tears up to a great, eternal, and infinite being and say, I feel for this person. I can't give them the answers that they won't receive from me, but somebody out there can. And that's when the miracle happens, when somebody you know has been suffering, and you've been really praying in your heart, thinking and feeling in your heart that you want them to receive the joy and the peace that you have, but you can't give it to them because they won't receive anything you say. There's a big wall there. And then some stranger on a bus, some person in a line, some book falls into their lap, and they come back to you saying all the things you were trying to give them as if it's brand new and they never heard it before, and you're just like, yes, somebody else was able to get through to them because there was no wall, no judgment, no something in the way from receiving. And that's a miracle thing. That's why I love when Tony, whatever his last name is, does that thing, or you know, Joe Dispenza, or you know, The Secret, or with, I love that there's so many different people out there, all with the same knowledge, who have a different perspective and understanding, who have a different way of looking at the same knowledge and sharing it, because everybody learns differently, just like autistic people. Everybody learns differently. And what one person says, another person will say differently, and it will make sense over here, but not over here. Not because they're saying anything different, but they're just saying it in a way that connects and resonates with that particular person's experience. So the more people out there sharing their testimony, their light, the more opportunity there is for those that are still suffering and struggling and have too many walls around them to hear those closest to them are trying to help, to actually receive what their friends and family and the rest of society have been praying for them to receive, which is the truth that gives them freedom. Freedom to be peaceful, freedom to be joyful, freedom to love, to trust, to let go, to surrender. So it's a joy. Do you like the music? There's a little bit of stuff going on in the kitchen too. Anyways, stay brilliantly blessed. You are perfectly and powerfully loved.